After nearly a decade together, Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry stunned the world when news broke that their engagement was officially over. Fans were left wondering, what could possibly have ended one of Hollywood's most adored love stories? And now, after weeks of silence, Orlando has finally spoken out. What he revealed wasn't anger, bitterness, or regret. It was something no one expected. When the news first broke that Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry had called off their engagement, fans were stunned. After 9 years of love stories, red carpet moments, and carefully shared glimpses into their private world, the announcement felt like it came out of nowhere. This wasn't just another celebrity fling. This was a couple that many believed would go the distance. The split quickly lit up social media, with rumors swirling about what might have gone wrong. Was it the pressure of their careers, long stretches apart, or simply the reality that even the brightest stars sometimes drift in different directions? No one knew for sure, and the lack of answers only made the speculation grow louder. For fans who had watched their journey unfold over nearly a decade, it felt like the end of an era, and many were left asking how something that seemed so solid could unravel so suddenly. After weeks of silence, Orlando Bloom finally addressed the breakup, and his words cut everyone off guard. Sitting down for an interview on the Today Show, he didn't sound like a man bitter over the end of a 9-year relationship. Instead, he spoke with calm, gratitude, and even a sense of peace. "I'm great," he told Craig Melvin. "I'm so grateful. We've got a beautiful daughter. You know, when you leave everything on the field like I did in this movie, I feel grateful for all of it." It wasn't the heartbreak confessional fans were expecting. Instead, Orlando made it clear that even though his engagement to Katy Perry's had ended, his outlook remained positive. He emphasized that there were no hard feelings, no public feuds, and no need for drama. "We're gonna be great," he added. "It's nothing but love." That one line, "nothing but love," immediately stood out. At a time when most celebrity breakups spiral into messy headlines, Orlando's choice to frame his split with grace and respect shocked fans. It wasn't just a statement, it felt like a message about how he wanted this chapter of his life remembered. While Orlando chose to speak openly about the breakup, Katy Perry has taken a very different approach. She hasn't released any statements or sat down for interviews to share her side. Instead, she's been letting her actions and her performances do the talking. On stage during her Lifetime tour, Katy has shown a version of herself that's energized, radiant, and completely in control. Her outfits are bolder, her confidence undeniable, and every performance seems to send the same message. She's moving forward on her own terms. One moment in particular grabbed headlines. During a concert in late August, a fan in the crowd admitted his name was the same as her ex's. She paused, locked eyes with him, and then smiled before calling his name incredible. The crowd erupted, knowing exactly what she was hinting at. It was subtle, but powerful. Without ever mentioning the breakup directly, Katy managed to acknowledge it and at the same time remind fans that she's stronger than ever. Through all the headlines and speculation, one thing has always remained crystal clear. Orlando and Katy's top priority is their daughter, Daisy Dove. At as much 5 years old, Daisy has been at the heart of every decision the couple has made since announcing their split. In fact, a rep for the pair confirmed this back in July, explaining that Orlando and Katy had been shifting their relationship over the past many months to focus on co-parenting. The statement made it clear that while their romance may have ended, their commitment as parents has not. They plan to continue being seen together as a family, making sure Daisy grows up surrounded by love, stability, and respect. And this isn't Orlando's first time balancing parenthood after a breakup. He also shares a 14-year-old son, Flynn, with his ex-wife Miranda Kerr. That experience seems to have prepared him for this chapter with Katy, helping him understand that even when relationships change, family bonds don't have to break. By keeping Daisy at the center of their lives, both Orlando and Katy have made it clear. Whatever their personal differences, their role as parents will always unite them. What makes this breakup even more interesting is that it isn't the first time Katy and Orlando have stepped away from each other. Back in 2017, the couple surprised fans with a year-long split.
At the time, many assumed it was the end of their story. But instead of closing that chapter for good, the time apart seemed to give them a new perspective. Katy later reflected on that period, admitting it was one of the most important seasons of her life. She explained that the distance forced her to work on herself, to discover what true self-love actually meant, and to understand who she was outside of the relationship. For her, the break wasn't just painful, it was transformative. When they reunited, both Katy and Orlando often described their relationship as a journey of growth. They spoke about wanting to evolve together, not just as partners, but as individuals learning how to become better humans. It was that shared goal, growing for themselves and for their daughter, that seemed to keep their bond strong even when challenges arose. This history shows that for Katy and Orlando, separation has never been about bitterness. Instead, it's been about finding strength in change and learning how to come back stronger, whether together or apart. Of course, no Hollywood breakup is complete without the swirl of online theories, and this one has been no exception. Ever since the news broke, fans have debated whether the split between Katy and Orlando was something sudden, or if it had been building for months behind the scenes. Some point to their demanding schedules as a possible reason. With Katy on tour and Orlando busy with film projects, it's easy to imagine the physical distance taking a toll. Others suggest their priorities might have simply shifted over time, especially with Katy pouring herself into music and Orlando focusing more on acting and family life. There are even those who believe the couple's breakup was less about conflict and more about evolution, that they may have simply outgrown the version of their relationship they'd built over nearly a decade. But it's important to remember, these are just rumors. Neither Katy nor Orlando has confirmed any of these theories. But still, the speculation shows just how invested fans were in their love story and how much people want to understand what really happened between two stars who seemed destined for forever. When Orlando talked about leaving it all on the field, he wasn't just referring to his work as an actor. That phrase carried a deeper meaning about living fully, embracing change, and finding gratitude, even when life doesn't unfold the way you planned. His calm acceptance of the breakup showed that, for him, growth matters more than holding on to the past. Katy, in her own way, has shared a similar perspective. Long before the split, she spoke openly about wanting to evolve, not just as a performer, but as a human being. For her, relationships weren't about clinging to comfort, but about pushing each other to grow. That idea of evolution and resilience has defined so much of her journey, both on stage and off. Together, their outlook paints a bigger picture. This isn't a story of two people walking away from love. It's about two parents choosing to prioritize their daughter Daisy above everything else. Despite the end of their engagement, they remain united in their commitment to raise her in an environment filled with stability, respect, and unconditional love. In the end, Orlando and Katy may no longer be partners in romance, but they're still partners in the role that matters most, being there for their little girl. At first, news of Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry's split felt like the end of a fairy tale. But as the dust has settled, what stands out isn't bitterness or drama, it's the respect they continue to show each other. Both have made it clear that their daughter Daisy will always come first, and that no matter what changes in their personal lives, their bond as co-parents remains unshakable. Instead of fueling tabloids with feuds and accusations, they've chosen grace. Orlando speaks with gratitude, Katy shows resilience on stage, and together they've reframed their breakup as a new chapter rather than a collapse. So maybe this isn't a story of heartbreak at all, but of two stars choosing growth, even when it means walking separate paths. And in a world where celebrity splits so often end in chaos, maybe that's the most powerful ending of all.